I was looking for an analogy, a comparison outside of sports with the NBA Finals. And have you ever gone to a movie and you come home and all of a sudden you say, God, this movie was great. And then all of a sudden it's who was in it? This guy, remember this guy? And he was, okay. You know what? Let me Google it and then I'll tell you who this is. Like The Usual Suspects. There are no real stars in there at the time, like Gabriel Byrne, Kevin Spacey. They were all good actors. And then all of a sudden you go, man, this movie, it was wild. It was really good. Who's in it? Oh, that guy, and maybe that guy. One of the Baldwin brothers. I'm not sure which one. It's not Steve. I don't know. Maybe it's Steven. It's not Alec. Kevin Pollak. Remember? So you had that. You kind of have that with the NBA Finals. And maybe you have that with the Indiana Pacers. You're like, they're really good. Well, who do they have? Well, remember the guy who won a title in Toronto, and remember the guy who was in Sacramento, and then he got this guy was like the 9th pick overall, and their coach, he looks a lot like Jim Carrey, but he's bald. Like, all of this stuff where you're going, yeah, okay. And then the other team has a guy who played at Gonzaga, like he's a 7-foot guy who's got a good handle, and then they got a guy who's got a hyphen in his name, and he's the MVP. Huh? That's the feeling you kind of get. And it's been fun, been exciting. And what you saw last night with Indiana was that was a team that appeared to be in better shape than OKC. And if you watch, Brian Windhorst brought this up this morning on the mothership. There's like 8 minutes to go. They're at the free throw line, and you could see the Pacers are standing up, and OKC is kind of holding onto their shorts. And that is a tired team. But the Pacers will do that to you. They're scoring. And if they get, I think there's a stat, when they get over 111 points, maybe it's 114, they win. They win every time. And they are controlling the pace. They are the Pacers. And they've done a really good job with that so far. And OKC has lost all of the fourth quarters, all 3 fourth quarters so far. And you saw that last night. Indiana, the difference was the fourth quarter. Pacers aren't going away. They don't know better. But OKC is still a great team. But this game on Friday night, that's your series. Because if Indiana goes up 3-1, now all of a sudden, can you win 3 games in a row? Yes, they can, because it goes back to what I said. When this series started, Indiana has no chance. Oh, you got everybody picking maybe, if not 4, 5 games. Jay-Z bet $1 million OKC was going to win in 5. Oops. And now here we are. Pacers up 2-1. Now, the momentum is the next game. We react, overreaction. Fritzy all of a sudden goes, I think Indiana's going to win. And he had OKC winning in, 6 games or 5 games to start the series.
Yep.
Let's just slow down. I have the Pacers in 6. Let's see. Maybe. But OKC's going to come back. And this is the chess match that you have. Rick Carlisle is a great coach. And then you start to wonder, okay, if I'm OKC, what do I think they're going to do next time? And I'm thinking, you don't have to do anything. How about you just continue to do what you're doing and then see what they do as far as react? I don't want to react because I think they're going to react or counter their reaction. It's like, all right, let me see if you can beat us this way. It's going to be multiple guys going at SGA, and we're going to pick them up full court. We're going to tire them out. And hopefully we're going to be holding on for the first 3 quarters, and then you get to the fourth quarter, and then we're going to take over. And the bench was so important. We've talked about this many, many times with different teams. What kind of depth do you have? And when you go to them, what are you getting? Here is Rick Carlisle talking about his bench.
TJ just brought a competitive will to the game. Mathurin jumped in there and immediately was aggressive and got the ball in the basket. And, look, this is the kind of team that we are. We need everybody to be ready. It's not always going to be exactly the same guys that are stepping up with scoring and stuff like that. But this is how we got to do it, and we got to do it as a team, and we got to make it as hard as possible on them.
You can go to your bench. You just want to make sure that your bench is ready to go. It's like the Knicks. Hey, you're going to go to your bench? Well, you can. But what are you getting when you go there? And OKC has depth as well. These are very balanced teams. But you saw last night a bench that was ready to go, and the energy that playing in your building was certainly there. Yes, Eaton.
Yeah, the Thunder seem to be in a much different spot than the Pacers, because the Pacers, when they look at their defensive plan, they're like, how do we stop SGA? The Thunder are like, how do we stop all those guys on the bench?
Yeah.
How do we stop all this surge coming from the bench every game that's just wiping us out? How do we stop all of those guys?
And Mathurin, it feels like, has one game a series. Nesmith has one game each series. Nembhard has one game. That's what you need. You need to have that guy where you go, man, he just went off. Siakam, when he went off for, 38 in a game. You just need to have that guy or guys. T.J. McConnell was wonderful last night. Just forcing turnovers, steals, turning them into points.
You need a guy to have a game.
Yeah. And it's not a guy that you expect, because that's where you go, we did a pretty good job on everybody, but not that guy. And Indiana has been sharing the wealth so far, and that's a big win last night. But Friday's the season for OKC. And once again, we came into the NBA Finals, and everybody said they're one of the biggest favorites in the last 25 years. In fact, only one other team was a bigger favorite, and that was Golden State. And that was about a decade ago. But other than that, it was OKC. 68 wins, 80 wins total coming into the NBA Finals. And, you had a situation in the Eastern Conference Finals where Tom Thibodeau might have gotten fired, or in part because they lost to the Pacers. Well, the Pacers were up 2-1 to OKC.